नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, तेरी लीला प्रभु है न्यारी न्यारी, हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे, श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण हरे हरे। निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे, निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे, कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे 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 घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिला दे 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 कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे 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 घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिला दे 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 कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे 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 घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिला दे 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 कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिला दे 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 कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Everyone together. Om. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Let's begin with a few moments of meditation together. So just allow your eyes to stay closed if they were, or draw them closed if they were open. Feel the awareness draw inward. Draw the awareness into the breath. Just feel the awareness merge into the breath. Don't try to change it, but merge the awareness into it. And you'll notice as you do that, that automatically it becomes deeper, becomes longer. But just draw the full awareness into the breath. Become aware of the breath as it flows through the entire being. Try to be conscious of every aspect of the being as it's touched and filled with the breath. Maintaining the awareness of the breath as it flows through the being. Draw most of your focus to the breath as low in your abdomen as you can, about 2 inches below the belly button, to a place called the Swadhisthana chakra. It's about 2 inches below the navel, about 2 inches above the groin. Draw most of the focus there and feel the inhalations be taken from there. And at the end of each exhalation, allow yourself to sink back there. On the next inhalation, allow the breath to be carried upwards from the Swadhisthana chakra, from that place low in the abdomen. Allow the breath to be carried as it rises through the being, all the way up, if you can, to your third eye center, just between the eyebrows, the Agya chakra. It's not about forcing the breath up. Don't suffocate yourself or strain it, but just allow the breath to rise through the being, all the way from the Swadhisthana chakra up to the Agya chakra, the third eye center. And on the exhalations, allow it to drop back down through the being. Back down to below the navel. Allow that breath to rise higher and higher on each inhalation. And allow yourself to sink deeper and deeper into the core of the self on each exhalation. If the mind wanders, don't worry. Don't fight it. Just bring it back gently to the breath. Rising higher and higher, closer and closer to the third eye on the inhalations. And sinking deeper and deeper into the core of the self on your exhalations. Gently bring the palms together at chest level and rub the palms of the hands against each other. Press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Slowly open the eyes into the palms of the hands and lower the hands. Welcome to Satsang. We'll begin as always with a question that's come in advance, and then I'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has before taking any of the others that we have in advance. There are things that I want to do and need to do, but there is resistance to these important things, and instead I spend time on other more frivolous things. How do I resolve this? It's a dilemma that I think is unique to the human condition. I can't guarantee it. I don't have any vivid recollection of a memory in a past life as anything other than a human. But my instinct is that this dilemma is unique to the human condition. I don't think that animals or anything in nature wastes its time doing what it's not supposed to do. And so, for example, I would be surprised if you ever found chipmunks in the wintertime who found themselves without any nuts stored for the winter because they had spent the summer just, playing around and totally forgot that winter was coming and didn't notice the cool breezes starting and forgot that as a chipmunk their duty was to collect nuts and store them for the winter. But there's something about the human condition and this drama. We speak about it as a leela. In Sanskrit, the word is leela, for the divine drama, in which here we are created by God, of God, as divinity, but then we are sent into a situation where we're going to forget that we are divinity. We're going to think that we are this body. We're going to think that the entire existence is all about the 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 years you get. And then some of us are going to be blessed enough to have something happen in our life, whether it's just the appearance of grace, whether it's a guru, whether it's parents who happen to be really awake and so raised us that way, whether it was an illness, an injury, something that happened that made us realize, oh my God, near-death experience, whatever it may be, but something happens that makes us suddenly say, wait, it's not actually all about what I look like. It's not actually all about how people are treating me. It's not actually all about the model of car I drive or how many people are following me on Facebook or what restaurants I get to eat in or what resorts I get to vacation at, what brand of mobile I have or brand of jeans I wear. But the leela is that we're going to forget that. And so in this leela in which we are God, but we've been created in form with a tendency toward ignorance. It's not always the case, but there's a very large general tendency in the human condition toward the ignorance. And then we have to come back and wake up. And this is important because when you find yourself making commitments to doing things that you need to do, whether it's as logistically needing as collecting your metaphoric nuts for winter, like saving up some of the money that you're making so that down the line, if you need it, you have some. The pure basic, just kind of logistics, nuts and bolts of life. If you're in that householder, have a job, phase of life, ashram of life, or whether it's the things that you want and need on a deeper level. spiritual experience, wisdom, divine connection. But there's something in us other than absolute physical, medical fatigue that requires us to sleep. There's something else in us that makes us hit that snooze button when the alarm goes off to meditate. There's something within us that makes us able to get up in time to catch an early morning flight, but unable to get up to meditate. Something that enables us to put time and energy into something we want to achieve at work. Oh, there's going to be a board meeting the next day. You've got to be prepared, do your presentation. We'll stay up all night, reading what we need to read, being prepared for that meeting. But how many of us have spiritual books sitting by our bedside that we pledge we're going to read? But by the time we allow ourselves to drop into bed, we're so exhausted that we can't keep our eyes open. Or we drop into bed, but instead of picking up the book, we decide to just hang out on WhatsApp or Messenger or something instead, or check our Facebook instead. So don't feel badly about this. It's not a defect. It is a very actually common aspect of the human condition. And interestingly, it was not created by our smartphones. It was not created by social media, because even though that may be the medium through which a lot of this distraction is happening these days, our scriptures have been talking about the monkey mind. Our scriptures have been talking about discipline, have been talking about committing yourself to a spiritual path for thousands and thousands of years. So long before there was any technology, we were distracting ourselves. Whether we were distracting ourselves by playing with pebbles in the sand, or drawing on walls of caves, or cleaning our own fingernails, or whatever we were doing, we weren't meditating. We weren't inquiring within. And so it's important to know that so that we don't feel badly, but it's also important to know that so that we don't simply decide, well, when it's right, it will happen. A lot of us have this aspect of life of, okay, well, when God wants me to start doing these things, when I become free, when I have more time, then I will engage in spiritual pursuits. As though somehow the universe is just going to, part the Red Sea so that you can have time to meditate. It's not going to. We've got to make choices that say, this is important. This is important because actually, this is the point. This is what I'm here for. To wake up, to know who I am, to use my life in service. I can't tell you how many people, I've been here now 23 years, and how many people I've heard say to Pujya Swamiji, people from all over the world say to Pujya Swamiji, oh my God, I wish I could come back to Rishikesh and be there and do seva there. All I want to do is do seva. Okay, so when the kids go off to college, then I'm going to come and do seva. And then it's like, oh, well, we'll don't have to get them married. Okay, so when the kids are married, then I'm going to come and do seva. Then, oh, well, this happened. Okay, have to take care of this, have to take care of that. The deep heart and the clear mind know, that's what I want to be doing. I want to be sitting on the banks of Ganga, meditating, doing seva, engaged in that. But then there's the the drama of the human condition that keeps us, one thing after another, keeps us bound. And so, as you find yourself doing things other than that which you know you need to do, this is where you've got to exert discipline. This is where things literally, as simplistic as timetables and alarm clocks and reminders, are very important. You think, well, God, it's spirituality. Like I shouldn't need, an alarm on my phone to remind me. Or I shouldn't need this to remind me, or I shouldn't have to discipline myself so much. Yeah, you do. Not for very long. But until you overcome that initial lethargy of spirit, until you overcome that initial attachment to the ego that says actually checking the news is much more important than meditating, actually doing that is more important than meditating, doing that is more important than seva. Takes us a while to overcome it. And so here's why it's important. A, it's important for your spiritual growth, but B, it's important because there's a very interesting interaction between our thoughts and our actions. So we know that thoughtless action gets us in trouble. If I act without thinking, I get in trouble. We know this. We've all, during the course of our lives, done things without thinking, and you regret it later. But actionless thoughts also get us into trouble. If I have a thought that says, I'm going to get up every morning and meditate. I have a thought that says, I'm going to be serious about my spiritual path. I have a thought that says, I'm going to do seva. I'm going to engage in this practice. And I don't do it. What ends up happening, aside from the fact that I'm not meditating, is that actually my self-identity becomes someone who doesn't do what they say. I know I'm making a decision to do it, and I know that I'm not doing it because it's all happening in me. So it's my same mind that's saying I'm going to get up to meditate, and it's my same mind saying, not today, hitting the snooze button or reading the news instead. And what ends up happening is my whole self-identity becomes, oh yeah, I'm really lazy. Oh yeah, I don't follow through on things. Oh yeah, I don't have any discipline. Oh yeah, I never do things that I commit to doing. And that actually becomes even more harmful than if you had never made a decision to meditate. If you're not going to do it, no problem. But at least then stop committing to doing it. Tell yourself, okay, I'm never going to meditate. I'm going to sleep till 9 o'clock in the morning every day of the rest of my life. You're actually better off doing that than making a commitment that you're going to get up to meditate and hitting that snooze button every day. Because in the second case, your whole self-identity is now becoming someone who doesn't do what they say. And that's going to then leak into every other area of your life. Wherever else you make a commitment, there's going to be a voice in your head that says, yeah, well, you don't follow your commitments anyway. Yeah, well, you don't have discipline anyway. Yeah, well, you never achieve what you say you're going to do anyway. And you get that voice in the back of your mind, and sometimes it's so subtle that you can't even hear it. That's that voice going, yeah, we're used to hearing you say things. And that's the most destructive voice to have in your head. So if you make a commitment that you're going to do it, do it. Make that alarm as loud as you need to make it. Put it in the farthest corner of your room. Create a situation where you are not going to have food all day if you don't get up. When I first came here, the morning prayers that take place here in the ashram at 5, They were compulsory for the first several decades of the ashram's existence. And when I first came here, they were still compulsory. And if you didn't go, you didn't get food that day. And during the morning prayers, the chowkidar of the ashram would literally go around room to room to room and knock on the doors of the ashram, every door of every room. And by the end of the prayer, there would be a list, and the list would come into the hands of whichever saint was giving the morning discourse. And at the end of the discourse, he would read a list that said, the following people are observing upvas today. Following people are fasting today. The euphemistic way of saying they're not going to be fed. To the point where there's a great story in ashram history of the former president of India came to the ashram, stayed overnight, didn't know he was supposed to get up for morning prayers, didn't go, but the president of the ashram, not Pujya Swamiji, but this is going back to the 1950s or 60s. The president of the ashram, A, felt so badly, obviously we can't not give the president of India food, but B, the rule was so strict that he observed fast on behalf of the president of India. So he fasted for him that day. So that's how strict the rules were, that even your president of India, all right, the only way you get off is somebody fasts on your behalf. And I share this because that sort of discipline, you think, well, God, people who have come all the way to stay in an ashram, clearly they've got the discipline, the commitment, they're going to get up. Well, even here, they had to make people not get food. So create whatever situation you need to create for yourself to make yourself do what you know you need to do every day. If it's meditation, if it's your yoga asanas, if it's going to the gym, your prayers, your service, if it's not every day, if it's every week, whenever it is. But create a situation in which if you don't do those things, there's some disciplinary action. And it won't take, you won't have to do that forever. You know, it's like with kids. Every parent knows for the first few years of life, kids don't brush their teeth until you remind them. And then you remind them again. And then you make them get out of bed and go do it, because even though they told you they brushed their teeth, you can smell that they didn't. And you pull back the covers and you say, now go brush your teeth. But after a few years of age, we get to a point where there's no way that we'd leave the house without brushing our teeth, because something from inside of us says, ugh. I'm like, imagine walking out of your house without brushing your teeth, right? Everybody's face kind of goes like this. So after a while, you get into a situation where walking out of the house without doing your practice, whatever aspect of meditation, or japa, pranayama, that it includes, prayer, that it includes, whatever your practice is, something doesn't feel quite right inside you. But you've got to use the discipline in the beginning, the same way that parents have to use it to get kids to brush their teeth. And don't feel badly about it. Just understand you're human. You're here with the human condition. So exert some human discipline and get yourself to do it. The ends absolutely justify the means. So before I take any of the other questions that came in advance, if there are any questions here, I'm happy to take them. Yeah. Okay, so you'll get another chance in just a moment. I'll take one of the others that have come in advance first. Do you believe in absolute certainty? Sure. We're all going to die. it's certain. I know that because, from a spiritual standpoint, scriptures of the world tell us everything that is born has to die, matter is temporary. I know it from a scientific standpoint. I also know it from an experiential standpoint, as in, I've never heard of anyone ever living forever. So yes, absolute certainty, we will all die. I also know for absolute certainty the existence of God. And I know that because I've experienced it. The only real way to know something as truth is to experience it. But until we have the experience, so I don't have any recollection of experiencing having died, but until we have an experience, in order to know something, we turn to those we trust. Whether it's a scripture, whether it's a person, whether it's a science, whatever it may be. There's probably at least half a dozen things, 5, 6, 7 things I could come up with that I know with absolute certainty. Not many. And the reason for that is that other than the fact that we're all going to die, there's nothing about the human condition that I think is absolutely fixed. Because I believe very, very deeply in the power of grace. And whether it's the power of grace to cure terminal illnesses, and I've seen lots of cases of people and heard of lots of cases of people who were diagnosed with terminal illnesses who didn't die. I've seen lots of cases of people who were young and healthy and dropped dead suddenly. So there's certainly no certainty there. There's also no certainty in terms of the fickle workings of the mind. That which is certain is that this body will die, and that the soul within it, the truth of it, won't. And that I know personally, not because I have any specific memory of that, but because of the experience of knowing that the soul is God. And yes, of course, because of faith in scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita that tell us that. But also from an experience of a connection. But there's very little else that's absolutely certain. And so most of us spend a lot of time worrying about things that we think are absolutely certain. Or expecting things that we think are absolutely certain, and then we get upset. So most of us think it's pretty absolutely certain that if you work really, really hard, and you work honestly, you should succeed. If you're a good person, you work hard, you work well, you should succeed. Doesn't always happen. Lots and lots of stories of really good people who work really hard, who just for whatever reason in the universe, things just seem to not work for them. The opposite is true. You think, well, God, if you're a bad person, if you're a liar and a cheater, things shouldn't work out for you. We see them do all the time. We think if you love someone and you give them your love with loyalty, with caring, with devotion, that they should love you back, that they shouldn't harm you, that they should also be loyal back. See, lots of cases that doesn't happen. We think, if I really want something and you say you love me, you should do it. You should do what I want. Doesn't happen. That attachment to certainty in our life is what leads to frustration. That attachment to absolutely knowing, if I do this, will that happen? We have no way of knowing. You think if I plant an apple seed, I'm going to get an apple tree. Maybe. That's certainly the only type of tree you're going to get. If you plant an apple seed, you're not going to get a peach tree. But planting an apple seed does not guarantee you're going to get an apple tree. You could plant that apple seed, but you could plant it in the wrong place at the wrong time of year, in a climate that doesn't support apple trees. You could plant it in a climate that does support apple trees, but a horrible year of drought. Anything could happen. This is where in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna emphasizes so much. Do not be attached to the fruits of your labor. Nothing is certain. You cannot be absolutely certain that that apple seed is going to give you an apple tree. So let it go. Plant it. That's your duty. That's your dharma, if that's what your dharma is, your duty is. Do it. Do it to the best of your ability. Do it well. Do it sincerely. And then leave it in my hands, because the only thing that is certain is that nothing is certain. So why kill yourself? Why be stressed? Why have these expectations? Nothing is certain. Do your best. And then leave the rest in my hands. And it's not an easy thing to live by. If you really allow yourself to drop deeply in to that place inside of not knowing. I mean, we don't know anything. We don't even know that this roof isn't going to fall on us. You have no way of knowing that your heart is going to even beat in the next minute. We have no way of knowing anything. And when you drop into that, it's scary. If it's not scary, you haven't dropped deep enough. But if you can sit there for a moment, if you can sit in the place of fear, of, oh my God, then what? I mean, if I literally can't know anything, if you can sit there for a moment, what you find is you actually drop into a place that's deeper than fear, which is a place of knowing. Because it's that place of touching that which is certain, which is the soul, which is divinity, which is truth, which is love, which is that no beginning, no end core of who we are. That's where the meditation teaching that is given to us of going within and just asking, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Is given. Because, yeah, you get to a place where it's really scary. Oh my God. I'm not this, I'm not that, not this, not that, not that. There is nothing left. And for a moment, there's that, and if you can just stay with that, you shift from an experience of I'm nothing and the fear of that to an experience of I'm everything. You shift from a place of void to a place of expansiveness. The place is the same, but your way of seeing it shifts. When you touch that place, initially the way of seeing it is, oh my God, I'm nothing. And then if you stay with it, the awareness of that experience shifts to, oh my God, I'm everything. And that's what's certain. And that's where all of the scriptures say, drop into that place. Don't worry. Don't worry about what's fruiting and flowering of the seeds that you're planting here. You are not responsible for the fruiting and the flowering of them. You are responsible for planting them well. You are responsible for watering them well. You are responsible for taking care of them sincerely. But you're not the one who can actually make a seed sprout. I mean, really, can any of us do that? We can't even digest the food in our own stomachs. I mean, if there weren't a system in place that knew what to do, you couldn't do that. I mean, if suddenly your food just stopped digesting and you had to use all your mental power to digest it, we couldn't do that. No idea how to make my body digest food if there weren't an automatic system already in place. Forget making a seed sprout. That's where Lord Krishna says, don't worry, I got all that under control. That's not your job. You plant the seeds. You do your duty. You fulfill your dharma. Leave the rest to me. That's certain.